So a lot of businesses were affected by COVID, some in positive ways, some very adversely. So what were the effects of COVID into your startup time?
So I'll say it was positive for us because we were born in COVID because that's where we thought that this idea would be accepted by a lot of our clients. So it was typically very positive for us in a way where companies started adopting this digital way of working, digital way of hiring services, digital way of saying that, oh yeah, I mean, we can actually simplify the complex contracting stuff which usually took a lot of time to execute.
Yeah, hi Shankar, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Mohit. How are you?
Great. Amazing. Right. Before we start the discussion, let me set the context and the pace of the session today, right?
Sure.
So today we have Mr. Shankar, who's a founder at ezContract, right? So primarily, welcome on board the startup story, right? Primarily. So
Thank
Shankar,
you.
before we get into the discussion, right? I'm curious to know more about your background, your journey, how the idea evolved for the startup, right? So if you can shed some light on those lines, it'll be great.
Sure. Uh, by education, I'm an engineer and MBA, and I worked in the industry, specifically in the power industry, for almost more equal to 15 years, working across various domains like sales, marketing, business development, product management, and some bit of operations as well. So cutting across cross-functional teams, and uh, I've been always curious to learn and curious about new ideas and stuff. So specifically those innovative ideas, whenever I got in my career, I tried to develop them. So innovation is one thing which is always loved, and I always pursue it as my passion. So that's where this idea of ezContract has come up, where while during my work experience with various clients and customers, the problem they are facing, specifically on the industrial services segment, I thought, I mean, I have seen the B2C industry because of my curiosity. I tried to understand how the B2C industry works and how new concepts of various digital transformations are coming up in B2C industry. I thought, let's apply something to the B2B industry which I'm operating in, which actually might solve the complex nature of the industry. So that's where the idea popped up of ezContract, and then we started developing it. Yeah.
Interesting bit. So right there, I was struck upon the word that you highlighted over that innovation, right? So we also at Startup Story believe in innovating and constantly learning. If not for that, no new ideas would have been born, right?
Of
So
course, yes.
interesting bit, right? So now, before moving further, can you give me an overview of the industry size and what are the key market dynamics that come into the play when we talk about this industry and the product that we have?
Sure. A typical industry size or the TAM for us where we are operating in is anywhere between 30 to 40 billion dollars. I say I have that kind of a number because it's a very unorganized sector right now. So the numbers are arrived at talking to a lot of customers by the experience of me and my co-founder, and talking to various people. So we believe that it is anywhere between the 30 to 40 billion dollars. And regarding the market dynamics, I mean, we operate in the infrastructure segment. So as the infrastructure grows, we have ample opportunity. That is one key economic driver which we have, which drives our idea as well. Second is growth in the manufacturing industry, because our platform also serves the manufacturing industry. As the manufacturing industry grows, we have that as a dynamic driver to execute our platform much better. Yeah, these two are the main drivers for it.
Interesting bit. So you mentioned that you have been into the industry, B2B, B2C industry since past 15, 20 years or so, right? So I'm sure you might have gone through the whole cycle of evolution, right?
Yeah.
So how has the market evolved over the past couple of years? I'm sure that the market 10 years back, or in fact, the market 3 years, 2 years back is completely different from what it is today.
Yeah.
So if you can highlight the shift or changes on that front.
Yeah. Specifically, you're right in pointing out the last 2 or 3 years, because specifically pre-COVID, this industry where we are operating in was very nascent in technology adoption. I mean, it's almost close to none. But post-COVID, the kind of digital transformation which this industry started adopting. I mean, Industry 4.0 pre-COVID was nowhere on the cards. But after COVID, I mean, every industry, every manufacturing industry want to go for Industry 4.0, bringing in efficiencies in the manufacturing. So that's where we thought that, I mean, why not bring efficiencies in the services side also? So that's where our idea popped up and we started working on it. And yeah, I mean, the digital transformation post-COVID has really, magnified specifically for our industry. While probably B2C had that pre-COVID as well, but specifically to our industry post-COVID, it has really changed a lot, and it is growing at a very rapid pace.
Quite interesting. But now that we have mentioned about COVID, so a lot of businesses were affected by COVID, some in positive ways, some very adversely. So what were the effects of COVID into your startup time?
So I'll say it was positive for us because we were born in COVID, because that's where we thought that this idea would be accepted by a lot of our clients. So it was typically very positive for us in a way, where companies started adopting this digital way of working, digital way of hiring services, digital way of saying that, oh yeah, I mean, we can actually simplify the complex contracting stuff which usually took a lot of time to execute. So in a way, I think COVID has really helped us to validate our idea, in fact.
Correct, correct. Interesting take on that, right? So, Shankar, can you let me know about the product or services that you offer, and how is it different from other players who might be operating in the same?
Sure. In simple terms, ezContract is a marketplace where or which helps companies to find smaller subcontractors quick and easy. So in early days, to find a subcontractor by any industry or a company or EPC contractor for that matter used to take 15 to 18 days just to finalize on the contractor. After finalization, the customer was very cynical, or he was very doubtful about the quality of the contractor they have finalized. I mean, whether they have the expertise to execute it, or whether they will do it on time, deliver it properly, etc., etc. So that's where we are bringing in efficiencies to that particular marketplace, and how we are different from our competitors or some other place existing on the market. We give end-to-end seamless execution of entire things. So we start from finding the contractor, hiring the contractor, managing the entire project on a platform, and paying them ultimately. So you have the entire cycle, project management cycle managed on a platform with all these services. And we always believe that for a industry or for a big contract or a prime contractor, the subcontractor efficiency or the performance matters a lot. So if the subcontractor performance is up to the mark, I think on an overall scale, I think the entire contract or a service actually is done on time, or it's done very effectively. So that's where we're concentrating on bringing in quality and efficiencies in this particular sector.
Correct. You rightly mentioned that every small bit counts, and that too in a project of a scale. If one or two subcontractors also miss the deadlines, it could be havoc for the entire project. And
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
So interesting bit, right? So I'm sure along with you, there must be a tremendous team that has helped the startup grow. So can you tell me more about your team, probably your co-founder and some members who are
Sure.
fueling it from the back?
Sure. We are a very small team right now, currently building up the solution. So we are a team of 6 right now. And me and my co-founder, he is much more experienced than me. He has worked across various engineering consultants, specifically railways and metros. He carries more than 25 years experience. And we have a CTO who has entire experience on full stack development, be it mobile application, be it web application, be it integrating escrows or blockchain into the system. So he has entire experience of a gamut of experience in the technology side. And we have 3 more junior developers who are actually helping to build the back end of the system.
Interesting. Interesting, very interesting. What are your plans for the future? How are you planning to expand your operations, Brian?
So right now we have only 10 plus categories which are made live on the platform, and we have got very good response from our clients. I mean, they're getting on board as we speak. So we want to expand these categories. So we've already shortlisted approximately around 58 plus categories of services in the industry space which we can offer, and that list is completely growing from day to day. We get a lot of inputs from our clients where they come up and they say that yes, we want this service as well. So that's where our future is to expand into more and more services, while we focus on specific segments where we operate in right now, where we have good strength with our present contracted base. So this is what we are trying to achieve. And of course, I mean, the entire industrial service sector is a oyster right now because it's so unorganized. We believe at this space right now we are the only ones, so we want to grow as fast as possible.
Correct, correct, right. I'm sure there might have been several challenges along your journey till date, right? So, can you mention one or two instances of the same, and how did you overcome?
Definitely. I mean, I'm from a different industry. So while I am, I mean, sound or knowledge with electrical or a mechanical components of any kind of equipment or a system, I'm zero on the IT part. I'm information technology or development, application development or stuff. I'm zero on it. So, and even my co-founder also, because we both are from the same industry. So that's where the initial days to understand the language of the development industry or the DevOps industry was tricky and was challenging. So we tried to outsource at one point, talking to third-party service providers. Uh, we used to talk to them, but the response or the response in which the language they used to speak was not very digestive, or we are not able to understand that. So that's where I had to typically learn from the basics of coding, and I did attend some classes on different types of coding and how the web application works, how the mobile application works. What do you mean by HTML, or what do you mean by PHP, or what do you mean by React, or all this stuff. So that was the challenge we faced initially, and then but I think over the period of time when I got in detail with it, when I taught myself on the macro level things, that's where I know the communication improved much better. The way we executed the project after that was very fast, and we could make it live by September. Yeah.
That's quite interesting, right? So, learning is, I also personally believe that learning never stops. Once you stop learning, you stop growing, I believe, right?
True.
So yeah, interesting, very interesting. Okay. I just have one or two more questions that
Sure.
for you probably. So, what are your future plans? How does the goal for next 3 years or so maybe look like?
So we have very ambitious plans because the way we see the industry, and the way it is growing. I mean, the way the investments are coming into the infrastructure development, we want to grow fast. Like I said, we want to be at least in the next 5 years, we want to touch $1 billion revenue for the services side, at least on the GMV, and we want to have at least more than 100 plus categories operating on the platform.
Interesting number to chase right there.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So all the best, very, very best for that, right?
Thank you so much.
Can you just share a message or advice from your experience, right? To with the young readers or young entrepreneurs who are just starting off and probably, looking at developing something of their own, right? So some piece.
I think the only thing which helped me through this journey was be curious and learn it by yourself first. So you'll have to, though you might be strong in your domain where you're operating, but there comes a time where you need to take help of a specific or another domain. So don't leave the domain to somebody else. Try to learn from the basics of that domain, so that probably maybe though you may not excel in that domain, you can actually hire somebody who knows that domain, and you can actually speak to them, get the work done by them. So that is one thing I advise. And for somebody starting new, I think there are a lot of problems to solve in the country in different industries. So I think there is no dearth of problems. So pick your problem, solve it. So that's what I want to tell.
Right, right. You mentioned there are a lot of problems. You just need to identify it, and probably the solution out there, you know, takes the
Yes.
market share. Right. Interesting. So Shankar, that brings me to the end of my questions for you today. So it was a lovely discussion with you, Shankar, and I personally got to learn quite a few things from this discussion. So I'm sure a lot of other people would have their key takeaways from the discussion. Right. So it
Thanks a
was a
lot,
pleasure
Mohit.
having you here at Startup Story.
Same here. It was
Right.
pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much.